Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Compliance Corner with John Hanson. It is Tuesday, May 12th, 2020, and I'm here with my very good friend, John Hanson. John, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Love it, love it, love it, as always. Okay, so today you wanted to talk a little bit about title contingencies, okay? So let's start off with basically the Form 21, paragraph D. So you want to summarize what that paragraph is all about, John?
Yeah, so what I think that most of us do with this paragraph D is we just read the very first sentence, and the very first sentence gives us comfort. And we say, oh, so the seller has to provide marketable title, and this is, representing the buyer. This is our guarantee or whatever that the seller is going to provide marketable title. And then we ignore the rest of the paragraph.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the rest of the paragraph talks about the exceptions to that, which means that the seller does not have to provide marketable title for the issues involving three really key areas that I've summarized for you to show, I guess, clarification as to what we would need to protect our buyer for and why we would want to use the form, the form for the title contingency. Would you mind going to that next one, Kole?
Right, here we go.
Okay.
So reserved oiling and mining rights, deed restrictions, and easements.
Yes, so those are the big three I picked out of that paragraph, the rest of that paragraph, that are exceptions to that rule of seller having to provide marketable title. It's saying that these things will not affect that marketable title issue. In other words, your buyer just has to suck it up at closing. This is what they're going to get. So if there are reserved oil and mining rights, too bad. Your buyer can't go into the closing table, see that on the reserved oil and mining rights by somebody from 40 years ago or whatever, and they can't walk away. They have to close and accept that property with those reserved oil and mining rights. Gotcha. With those deed restrictions, with those easements. Okay, so there really isn't a chance for your buyer to walk away from this deal on the basis of those three things unless they use the title contingency form.
Gotcha. And so in the title contingency form, we do have highlighted here some specific text that you were interested in, and it said seller shall have blank days, 5 days if not filled in, after buyer's notice of disapproval to give buyer notice that seller will clear all disapproved exceptions. Seller shall have until the closing date to clear all disapproved exceptions.
Right. So one of the issues that with that misunderstanding of the first sentence of the seller providing marketable title back from the the other form, one of the problems is that people who read that and think they're in the clear also are the listing agents who, when they get the Form 22T in their offers, are thinking, oh, well, this is going to be, this is the out, this is the buyer's out, this is how they're going to get out of the deal. Well, remember, they've got to do it in 5 days, first of all. Right. And so there's a lot of contingencies that come after those 5 days still. And so, so to be used as an out is kind of tough unless it's, the only contingency in the whole offer. And we have those sometimes. We just had one I was dealing with the other day. And so the buyer was wanting to get out on the basis of the title contingency, but what the buyer, I think, wasn't or the agent for the buyer wasn't aware of is this paragraph that you highlighted here for us, which is that this is what's can be done is that the buyer has to identify, first of all, that the problem they have with the title, so they can't just make it up. They have to go in and specifically identify what the problem is with the title, and then the seller has these 5 days to give notice that they're going to correct the issue, if they are going to correct the issue, and if it's correctable. Sometimes those things are not correctable, but sometimes they are, and the buyer could do that. So So it, even if it was being used as a quote unquote out for the buyer to just get out of the deal,
Mhm.
it's not just a slam dunk. They've got to, take responsibility to identify what the item is in the title report that is of concern to them, and give the seller a chance to fix that. So it's not, I don't think, a frivolous thing to be used at all, as an out for the buyer. But um, but it is an out, so if the buyer does see something on that title report that is of concern to them, whether it be an easement, whether it be some reserved oil and mining rights, any of those kind of things, a deed restriction that's going to limit their use of the property, whatever those things are, and it's a legitimate concern and comes up, and over the years I've seen a lot of those, and they're legitimate concerns. It gives the buyer their only chance to get out on that basis by using that Form 22T.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying about legitimate concern. I think so many times agents, there's the old adage says there's two people who never read forms. That's the client and the agent, right? So it's so vitally important that agents really understand these forms and the obligations that they have with these forms. And it's not just get out of jail free cards everywhere. It really is very legitimate concerns that that the clients would have. That's for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, John, thank you so much for this clarification. As always, it is amazing to get your advice and expertise on these things. So I hope you have a fantastic day, my friend. And for all of you guys out there, I hope you have a fantastic day too. See you later. Bye.
Bye.